Hey guys, welcome back for part two. We've got the style blow dried and flat iron ready for some detail work. We're going to clean up this undercut section which we've made larger in between tapes. So we're going to go ahead and scissor over comb this and give her some detail around the edges, near the face, around the ear. And a lot of your precision cutting is going to come in the detailing. In the end, when you have blown it dry and flat ironed it, you don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to. But you're going to check off your haircut for any extra hair sticking out. You might find that you want to do some texturizing or taking additional length off. If you have time in the salon, or if you manage to put aside time for that, that's great. Some people run their schedules a little tight that being able to do some of this fine detail work at the end comes at a little bit of a cost. But if you know you're going to be doing a haircut like this, definitely build in another 10-15 minutes for it. I used to teach at beauty school part-time, and one of the things that when I wanted to teach scissor over comb techniques, is I would say trim, rise, trim, rise, trim, rise. So as you go in slow motion, you get used to the action of the comb and scissors together. You would trim, rise the comb, trim, rise the comb, trim, rise the comb, and as you got more proficient, you'd be able to just whiz through the scissor over comb area that you were doing. A lot of students would say they were a little bit fearful to come around the ear. All that comes in time. You're wondering why I didn't just go ahead and use a clipper. Some people just think that using a clipper or doing it by hand is their preference. For me, doing it by hand is my preference. Some cutting styles or philosophies say that doing it by hand is the way to do it. Whichever way you do it is fine. A lot of people get hung up in who does this and what does that. As long as your result comes the way you want it and you're pleased and your client's pleased, that's the most important. And you would wonder why I left this part of the video up, just to show you that detailing does take a few minutes. Nothing just happens instantly or quickly. You have to be patient and methodical with your work. Here we're going to go ahead and check through this area. Once we check through the sides, and I left this piece of the video in too, because I'm going to switch out for my longer shears. And if you ever wondered why some people have a couple of different pairs, this is why. And that bottom part right there that you see me combing, that's where I'm going to decide where I want the finished length. Because I wanted to see a little bit of graduation, I wanted to carve out an arc going from just below the ear to the back. And you could choose to leave this any length you want. If you wanted to meet it exactly where the graduation came from the bottom, that's fine too. This video, this part two of this video, could have easily just showed you the finished result. But a lot of times when we're learning or we want to accelerate or rise above what we've been doing day to day, you can see what it actually takes to keep all the details in a precision haircut. In this particular look, we've decided to leave that as long as possible. You know, your client in the end is the one who's going to help you decide finished lengths. Even if you think it should be longer, it should be shorter. You want to build your trust with them and give them the best possible haircut you can, but also give them what they want. I took a class, and the gentleman that taught the class talked about suitability. You know, you can cut a perfect haircut for anyone, but if it's not suitable for that person, then maybe all would be lost on that beautifully placed haircut that doesn't fit your client. And our cameraman, friend, fellow that's helping film this particular video, said, "Isn't it amazing that to see this haircut, it should be blow dried and flat ironed?" For the most part, he's true. He's right. He's correct. You want to be able to see the lines, how it's laying, how it's finishing. It's important to blow dry and flat iron. Now you may say, what if my client doesn't like the blow dried, flat ironed look? Well, you have to ask yourself, will you be able to clean it up and do the detailing without it blown and flat ironed? So if you think that you can give the details without it being flat ironed, I say rock on, do what you got to do to make you and your client happy. Here I'm just point cutting, just a little bit of slicing into the finished line. So I'm going slow here to show you. I'm staying parallel with my section and just removing a little bit of weight. Here's a little bit of a closer look, just parallel into that section, just little teeny tiny hairs. That's what's so great about that white cutting collar, so that you can see the hairs falling. So I'm just removing a little bit of weight. And as I've said in an earlier video, we're not Hollywood, we're not, we don't have super fancy cameras here, so as much detail as we can possibly show you, we're trying to get out there. There's nothing probably better than doing this haircut yourself, but if you've never done it, you definitely want to practice it, give it a try. Some people need an instructor or guidance with them, or a mentor or an educator to walk them along a haircut. Some of us learn from video very well. I think it takes a little bit of both. Now you may wonder, could I have taken that design line shorter? Absolutely. Could I have come, instead of that sharp V, could I have taken that corner off? Absolutely. Does it look better or worse with or without it on? Only if you believe so. Here, those few hairs that are around the edges, I decided to go ahead while her eyes were closed and take those off, because in the beginning she did not want her undercut to be too wide, the section to be too wide, and then she decided she liked it a little bit wider. So I went ahead and took a few more hairs while her eyes were closed. And I used my judgment. I didn't just choose that just to choose it. I used my judgment, thought it would look a little bit better. Here, where you see me fussing with this area here, her hairline has a little kick to it. And all in all, I don't believe that this haircut in its entirety took me more than 14 minutes. Once you have a plan set in your mind, I knew how I was going to cut this hair the minute we set up this video shoot. I just checked in with her to see about finished lengths or how short that undercut would be. But how I was going to cut it was predetermined. I knew I didn't want layering, except for the layering that already existed in her haircut. I knew I wanted to graduate it round, starting from the side, one length going into the back with the round graduation. I knew there would be over direction. I was pretty certain it was going to need some texturizing. Hopefully we're going to get a few more videos. Taking some time off from teaching, just back staying in the salon. It's a beautiful haircut. She has gorgeous hair, gorgeous face, gorgeous features, bubbly, happy personality. And here's our finished look. Gorgeous shiny hair, nice asymmetrical haircut. She can push it over to the side. And voila. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them.